Hi, my name is Francheska Gelbart. I am a survivor of 5 concentration camps. I do bear a number from Auschwitz on my left arm, which is A 26,284. I want you to see this, Hansi. I don't know, can you see this?
Yes, Frozen in Time, Francheska Gelbart.
And you have an arm with my number on it and 6 flames coming out of the hand.
Oh my
For the
gosh.
6 million Jews. So, we were very active. I was very, very active. And the beginning of the book, what I said is, I vow never to forget the lives of Jewish men, women, and children who were innocently murdered. Their lives were taken with cruelty and hate. May we never forget. May the memory of the tragic times inspire us to hallow our own lives and ensure this will never happen again. May their memory be blessed forever.
Ever.
Just this phrase makes me emotional. I am here to hope and give hope to all of us and whoever heard us that such an injustice and such a crime that happened during the World War II will never repeat. However, what's going on in today's world, there is injustice still here. There is hunger here. There are many people that want to come to this country because they think that there is gold on the sidewalks. There isn't, but there is hope. There is democracy that we all share. I believe in immigration, providing that it's legal. Just like I came to this country, I had to go through medical, mental tests at the age of 17 when I entered this country from Germany. My hope for the future is that my children, my grandchildren, and I do have beautiful great-grandchildren, will know the freedom and the wonderful atmosphere that United States has. The people of this country are the greatest people, and I did travel throughout the world, and I know Europeans, there is snobbery, absolutely there is, but things that we have to offer to our immigrants, it's amazing, and we do need people. We need good people. If they are not so good, they learn from us how to be good. And we have to hope and give the message out. And God bless us all. Gesundheit.
Thank you. And that is right. Hi, I'm Sandra Scheller with the Chula Vista Heritage Museum and the South Bay Historical Society. Today, I am with Francheska Gelbart, an absolutely amazing person who survived not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 Holocaust camps. Francheska, it is amazing to be with you. The name of our show is called Our Lives, Our Future, and I know you have a lot to tell those that have so much to learn about our lives and our future. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Sandy. it's good to hear about you because, I didn't know who you were. I did go on a computer and it showed me what a wonderful, actually, artist you are and the wonderful things that you're doing for Chula Vista's museum, which is very commendable. I certainly appreciate and admire that.
Well, you're in Carlsbad, and between you and me, do you think we can come up with a permanent location for a Holocaust exhibit or museum in San Diego? Or if it's going to be permanent in Chula Vista? The goal is that I just didn't focus on the people in the South Bay, but I want to be able to give that love and attention to all the Holocaust survivors that came to San Diego. And sometimes I cry because the work is really, really hard. And I've been lucky enough to do it for the 5 living survivors that we have now, although we lost one. But the fact that I know that time is clicking like a clock, and I see the importance of making sure that we can get all Holocaust survivors in San Diego County.
Sandy, you're right. One never knows. The time is clicking, especially for us survivors. None of us is really a youngster. We are all in a very late 80s or early 90s. I myself am, 29, like Jack Benny said. However, as far as working together and hope for building a, let's say, Holocaust museum, I think San Diego downtown have some memorial things that shows survivors and from different camps. However, it's not like the one in Los Angeles that also has survivors, whoever is left coming certain times of the days, speak to the visitors. It's amazing how people respond to a survivor in person.
Yes.
Especially afterwards when you can show them the tattoo on your arm, meaning you were in Auschwitz. There were very few camps that really gave tattoos that I know of, except perhaps Buchenwald, Mauthausen, and Auschwitz. By the way, speaking of Mauthausen, this is where I was liberated by the Americans. And I learned that I also found my uncles, even though we were separated by barbed wires. I learned that my grandfather was cremated there. Oh God. Speaking of cremation, I asked a rabbi about cremations. And according to our religion, it's a sin to be cremated. However, my sisters, excuse me, I have to get a drink. Oh,
I'm going to join you. L'chaim.
L'chaim is right. The memories are very hard to go back with. The cruelty, the uncertainty, they, like my book, I was frozen in time. And by this I meant I was young enough to realize and to know, but I sort of pushed it away and I froze myself. I didn't know what I was doing, but now I realize because at many instances I am still frozen. In many instances, I love people, but I don't trust them completely. It's perhaps a good thing, but maybe not. In today's times and going through different times, even here in the United States, through different viruses and sickness and adjustments and political, even though I am not too political, but I certainly want to be aware of what's going on in my world, whom I am surrounded with.
Listening to you, you are like the voice of my mother, because my mother had a very difficult time trusting people. She would say things like, Sandy, you will have many acquaintances in your life. You will have very few friends and people that you can trust. I will tell you that I did not go to a concentration camp or was in the Holocaust, but I have inherited not trusting people. You almost have to earn that trust.
You were affected, but what your mother used to talk about or taught you. There is no question about that the second generation are affected to a certain degree. I have a sister that is 17 years younger than I am. She was born in Germany, in Munich, Germany.
What year?
1946, was it?
So she was born
Yeah,
after.
yeah, after the war, definitely, right. In Munich, Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Because when it comes to generation, she is a second generation to my mother, but what are my kids then?
Second generation to you.
Also.
That's correct.
You know, so I am always trying to think about the generations. Because let's face it, you know, survivors are always running. We're always trying to catch up with time. Even today, I cannot sit still for too long. All right, you know, survivors, you might not know, but we are trying to catch up always with time, whatever it might be, in education, in business, in friendships. We don't sit still, but we're running. Where are we running to? It's our past. It's our being in concentration camps, being locked up, trying to be out there. And that's who we are.
Francheska, how old were you when you went to the first camp, and what was the first camp? And if anything makes you feel uncomfortable, please tell me, okay?
Okay. Well, I was 10 years old when I was first separated from my parents from Ghetto.
That would have been 1939. 1939, 1940?
It was about 1940. Okay. I was born in 1929. Wow. Okay, so, you know, and that was in August. We're going back to my, as we say, Überlebung, which means in German, what I went through.
Right.
So in Ghetto, my father belonged to a government group in Ghetto that they govern the Jewish people, and they used to sort of manage the order My father spoke very well German, and my mother spoke very good German. And and they were just beautiful people. And my father knew a little bit ahead of time what was coming up.
Wow.
He was trying to involve my brother, that was 2 years older than me, in some kind of a work so he would not be shot or transported out from ghetto. So I worked in a paper factory that was making uh, lines for the, uh, you know, for the books that children write in.
Hmm.
Yes, and I was naturally not tall enough. Those machines were as big as my room, and I had to climb and push it in each big sheet to be lined. And that was, you had to be very quick because there were more and more coming. So, make the story short, um, this paper factory that belonged once to the Jewish people, we were sent out to the first camp, Warsaw, where Schindler's List was filmed. And you know, you are 9.5, 10 years old, you separated from your parents. It was a natural thing, oh, I be independent, not knowing what was really, truly coming up. Nobody knows. We didn't know what the next day would bring. In this camp, I worked in this paper factory for a little while. I was washing windows, preparing this factory for the machines and all that. And the people that were with me were elderly people than I was. I was the youngest. I was falling asleep, you know, at night on night shifts. They were covering up for me. If as man was coming in, they would let me know, get up, stand up.
Wow.
And before I knew, this paper factory somehow dissolved itself. It became something else. In this camp, I witnessed hanging, and you had to turn your head and watch those that were hanging. I watched in this camp graves being dug by very pious Jews, being shot, and they were davening and falling into the pit that they were dug for themselves. So at that time, you see, I just realized, and I hope that I will meet my parents again. This is how I became little by little frozen. From this camp, I was evacuated, and that was where somebody was calling. I turned around and I saw my brother. That was in a salt mine, Wieliczka, in Poland. He was called, he recognized me. So he threw me the only piece of bread that he had, which I never got it because there were a million arms that threw themselves on this piece of bread that he threw
Mhm.
for me. My God, talking about it today seems like, it wasn't my life. Like it was, well, like I am reading somebody else's life. You find a lot of people are connected really with the survivors.
Yes.
Are uh, daughters, sons, grandsons. We have now fourth generations, great grandsons or great granddaughters.
Mm-hmm.
So all this, that's why I wrote my book for my children.
Can you hold your book up for me so that the viewers can see it, please? Frozen in Time, Francheska Gelbart. Now, Francheska, one cannot buy this book, can they? Can they order it?
They cannot, because the only one that can order is me. I'm not on Amazon. I order 100 books, and you are lucky because I have 2 books left. So if I send you one, I have one left.
Thank you.
So
If viewers write me, when viewers write me on our show and they say, I definitely want Francheska's book, and we're to come up with, let's say,
well, if we come up with about 20, 25, I will order 50.
okay. Or like if we come up with like 50 people who want them or 40 people who want them.
I will order, then I definitely will order.
And books are $20. So
yes, I hope that it's not anymore because I don't make any money on it. You see, I don't know if you can see it.
I can see.
But I have pictures of my sisters, pictures of my grandfather, and here it's a colored pictures of my Israelis. You see, the color, to have this colored is expensive.
Oh gosh, yes. Francheska, I have all these questions and I just want you to talk because chances are you're going to be answering my questions.
Okay. All right. Well, you wanted to know about the camps. We left off when we were gathered in Warsaw and being evacuated to Auschwitz. Well, this is when I met my brother, not close, but we were divided naturally. And he was going someplace. I didn't even know that he was that close to me. We were not able to correspond or see each other. Uh, so I was transferred at that time to Auschwitz. And in Auschwitz, naturally, when we arrived to Auschwitz, I had no idea where I was. Uh, but people were talking, and I heard the dogs, and there was always a panic, tremendous panic, and loudness.
Did you hear music? Did you hear music in Auschwitz?
Yeah, but not when we arrived.
Okay.
No, I heard music in Auschwitz going to work.
Okay.
You know, Arbeit macht das Leben süß.
Right.
Work makes the life sweet.
Yeah. Arbeit macht frei. Mm-hmm.
Or free, whatever, which is true. Being busy is wonderful, but not the way they were trying to make us busy. No food, no proper way of living. We were slaves. When I arrived to Auschwitz, I didn't know if the water will coming or gas. And I had long braids. They didn't shave my hair, but they cut it short enough, maybe shorter than what I have now. And that was very traumatic, naturally. But once we went through the showers, they issue me a striped jacket, striped skirt, and wooden shoes. No underwear, no nothing. And whatever we brought with us, it was just left whenever we came in. I must say that before Auschwitz, still in Warsaw, my parents were in a different camp, and they were with my sisters. And there was also my brother, a little boy of 3 years old, Henry, that died in camp Bieżanów. They were in Bieżanów. He died of diphtheria. They couldn't get doctors, they couldn't get medication.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
I am from a family of 7. I am the second oldest. My brother Fred was the oldest. I am the second.
Second.
Yes. And so when my parents arrived, the children were taken separately. It's not only my parents, it was a transport of people. And they had children as well. And in Poishow, they had like a kindergarten, a blocks. There were 2 blocks of children. And they had, for a daytime, somebody that sort of took care of them. And when we came from work, the parents and I was with my sisters because my mother, I saw it behind the gates, beg an officer, please let me stay with my children or let me take my children. And he said, no, if you won't go into the, how you say, line, I'm going to shoot you. And he had a pistol out. So my mother naturally went into the line, but my sisters stayed with me. So I was like a mother to them, even though they were very smart. They knew, and one day trucks came, music came, and that was still in the Camp Warsaw. Music was very loud. People were on they gather us in Appellplatz. Do you understand what it is?
Yeah.
An Appellplatz meaning it's a big place, and they were surrounded us with Gestapo and machine guns.
Right.
And the trucks came and took the children. And we heard later, we didn't know where, but we heard later that they went to Auschwitz and they were all cremated. And you know, again, I have to go back to my mother, how she could live and be sort of, I don't know what normal is. None of us went through any therapies. None of us went through support groups, really. How she could live and how she could function.
Where did the strength come from?
The hope for life is very strong. We all have it. We all have it. And I always knew that I will live. With all this, what was going on around me, and with freezing myself and going back to my childhood surroundings. And that's what kept me going. Women during high holidays, somehow, Yom Kippur was the easiest because we didn't have to worry about food. But sleeping in those bunks that you couldn't straighten out, sleeping like sardines, if one turned, everybody else had to turn. All those things, honey, when I, as an adult, free human being, sort of, think about it. I like it wasn't me. I have to go and read my book. We become
Francesca, how many of your brothers, sister, mother, father, who survived in this? You survived, of course, but who else survived?
well. My maiden name was Immerglick,
Always lucky.
and you know what? I am so far, thank goodness. But because of this name in Auschwitz, I went to the living, not to crematorium. He asked me, "Was ist deine Name?" When before they give us issue the uniforms, we have to go through segregation, all naked. And you know, at that time, what was I? 11?
11. Yes.
I wasn't developed, you know. So he asked me, he pulled me out and he says, "Was ist deine Name?" And I said, "Meine Name is Immerglick." And he says to me, "Hast du Immerglick?" And I said, "Ich hoffe so."
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
And he says, he pointed, "Go here." And I went to the living line where they're going to be working.
Did you face Dr. Mengele?
You know, I don't know who they were.
Okay.
There were 3 of them. To me, they were all Mengele.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the way they explain today how, as a doctor, how their mind works, the experimentals. I've heard the screaming in Warsaw, still in Warsaw. No, I'm sorry, that was in Auschwitz
In
already.
Auschwitz. Mm-hmm.
In Auschwitz, I heard the screaming from the barracks, not the barracks, they weren't in the barracks. Those twins that they had experimentals on, they were in buildings, not barracks. But you hear the screaming, and the people next to me used to say, I didn't even know. I didn't know. I was very sheltered and very naive and frozen. So I didn't want to hear or see too many things. When I went to work, they had a music. And going through this Arbeit macht das Leben frei or süß, whatever, the women, when we were going in the front, they used to close down and I was sort of behind them. And when we passed the gates and the guard, the SS guards, they used to close behind me so they wouldn't see that I am so young.
11 years old. I mean, that is just unheard of because a lot of times, Francesca.
Today, 11 years old, honey, with our computers, with ours, they very matured. European, in Europe, anyways, the children were not as street smart as in United States.
The big question I get is when teachers or like when I'm giving a talk at the school and they say to me, well, do you think that 10 years old is too young? I'm like, that's when they took my mom. That's when they took you, Francesca.
You know, I will not give speech to 10-year-olds.
How old do you start them at?
I prefer junior high.
Okay.
Junior high and high school, and I go to clergies. I used to go, not anymore. I don't do it. I'm burned out and I won't be able to sleep for a couple of weeks after this.
Oh, I hope you'll be able to sleep after this. I pray you will. That is my biggest
Thank you.
fear. Yeah, that is my biggest fear.
No, I so far I sleep good, but
Good.
um,
How long were you in Auschwitz?
well, I was there when they had this evacuation,
Uh-huh.
the death march.
Right.
You've heard of the death march from
Yes, of
Auschwitz.
course. Yes.
Yeah, this is this is where I went to Bergen-Belsen, and I went on a how you call those trade wagons, where they transport.
It is a miracle. I mean, it is just a miracle talking to you.
I am nobody special, but I guess I had a special duty because at that time, women used to tell me, you have to live and tell this story. I didn't know what they were talking about. There were women that their understanding of the whole thing was totally different than mine.
Yeah.
I couldn't comprehend a lot of things. Ah, they
Francesca, you said you had 7 brothers and sisters, Mama, Papa. How many survived? How, when you reunited?
My brother survived, um, and he died here of cancer at the age of 38.
Oh my gosh.
My parents' miracles, it was miracle because they were liberated by Russians. I was liberated in Mauthausen by the Americans.
Correct.
And when I met my uncles there, one uncle knew how to contact the Red Cross, and on a freight trains again among Russians, we went from Germany to Poland. And I remember my uncle said, if somebody asks you who you with, you tell them you are with your husband because they were raping the Russians. They were, it was again, it was still war. You know, I was in a camp of ammunition and I don't remember the name of it. It was after Bergen-Belsen. And after the march, I and this kettle trains, I froze in my jaw. So when I got out, I couldn't move my jaw, and my two toes on my left foot froze. So I was limping. This is where the miracle comes in. There was a woman that, there were different women from different countries in a camp, and she happened to be a doctor. She saw me limping and she says, "What's the matter with you?" And I said, "I don't know, but my toes are frozen. I cannot move them. I cannot walk." She says, "Let me see it." So she says, "Okay, you have a gangrene." I didn't know what a gangrene was. She says, "Okay, she was my miracle person." And she put some kind of a salve on a piece of gauze. She had it with her. She put it on my toes and she said, "When you wake up in the morning, uh, try to get some hot water to soak your feet." There was no hot water, there was snow. And, you had to put your shoes on, all that. But in the morning when I woke up, the gangrene separated from my toes and the salve, and it was kind of bloody, but I used snow. So, anyways, I am okay. As much as people were trying to be very civilized, the prisoners that they call us, the prisoners.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
No, I call them survivors. Sorry. You are not a prisoner. I hate that word.
I know, but we were. I feel you are a prisoner if you cannot get out, you cannot be yourself. You are. What is the definition of prison?
Where
We have
you
to look
have
it up.
no freedom.
Exactly. So you're a prisoner
Yeah, the
if you have
freedom's
no
gone.
prison. That's it.
And a
So
survivor is somebody who went through this whole thing, and a hero is somebody who writes a book and talks about their experiences so that it never happens again. You were a prisoner, you are a survivor, and you are a hero.
thank you. I don't. I don't think of myself as a hero. I think of myself as unmöglich. I I think of myself that we all have angel above our heads. I consider myself very lucky.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, there was the people that wore the X were the criminals that used to deliver to Auschwitz the soup. They were German.
What?
The people that had the X, honey, were the criminals that were later, they were in, how you call it, in Auschwitz, and they were like delivering soup and doing other chores. They had a special,
Francheska, my grandmother was in the kitchen in Auschwitz, and I've never heard this before.
they had a different emblem, and they had this cross I never seen on any survivor.
Oh, Francheska.
I'm telling you, honey, I never seen this on any survivor.
And my grandmother survived Auschwitz and then went to Erdogan wearing the same dress. Wow.
Is that a dress?
Yeah.
The Auschwitz dresses were only honey striped dresses.
No, this was in 1944, and they ran out of stripes. So when they ran out of the stripes, this is, oh, we're laughing. Can you believe this? We're talking about the Holocaust and we're laughing. And this is
I'm
what they
laughing
gave.
because, you know, sweetheart, I hate to contradict you, but in 1944, um, I was already on this march
Yes.
out.
Oh, for sure.
I was out.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened with the new transport, you know.
What month was that? What month was that?
Are you
The march for
kidding?
you.
Are you kidding? Are you kidding?
It
You
was,
asking me to remember?
oh, sorry. See,
No, baby.
yeah, my mom's march was April 11th, 1945.
I don't remember. I just remember that it was winter
Okay.
and people, the Russians were coming. So there were a lot of people that were running away because who was guarding us was the Ukrainians.
That
You
had
know,
to be that had to be like January 1945.
no, 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 no. No, I was liberated in May 45.
Okay.
It was 44,
44. Okay.
not 45.
Everybody's story is so different. Isn't it amazing? And to
Well,
hear you tell me,
it's honey, it's not amazing because everybody that tells the story, they tell the story how it was, but also how it affected them.
yeah,
Just like I was frozen.
the last time when I saw photographs, They were people getting ready to be in pits. So for us to have this is, it's insane. And now I don't know what to do with it if, God forbid, I pass away. I have 2 children. Do I cut the dress in half and give half to one son and half to another?
Honey, that's my personal opinion.
I want to hear it, Mom.
Okay, I want my kids to visualize good things.
Yes.
I wrote a book, and once you read the book, you will see the miracles in what I went through, but on a positive situation. You don't want your children to get too much.
Correct. If it goes to a museum, if my children want to visit it, that is their choice, but not to keep it in the closet.
It's important they should know about it.
Yes.
It's important you should deliver the message. It's important to talk about it and defend our freedom.
Yes.
And be kind to each other. And I'm still learning how to trust. I'm in a community.
Me too. Me too. Let me ask you, as we are wrapping up, will you promise me we can talk again?
Absolutely.
And record?
Anytime, sweetheart. Anytime.
And
I'd be happy to.
Could you give me and everybody who's watching a final message of hope?
Believe in God. Pray. It's very good for your soul. And everything good will come in its good time. I always had a hope in my heart. And so far, at the age of 91, I'm still here. And I am able to talk and think. This is, to me, a miracle. Be good to each other. Love your spouses, your children. Don't try to get rid of them. Let them be with families. Let them be together as long as you can have them. This is my message. I love you all. Bye-bye.
I love you. You are amazing. You are amazing. Promise me you can call me anytime you want.
Well, I have your phone number, sweetheart. You are so wonderful with the computers. It's amazing.
Francheska, you'd say to him, if you called me and said, Sandy, come pick me up. I want to see the exhibit. I will come to Carlsbad and pick you up and take you to the exhibit. I mean that.
Well, once, we can gather more.
Second one. Yep. Yeah. The exhibit is closed. I will let you know when it's open.
Wonderful, honey. If you cannot get me, you have my cell number. Leave me a message.
Yeah.
I will call you back.
If there's anything you need, I am this close to you. You just pick up the phone and
Miss August.
Sandy, what?
Miss Leo.
Miss Leo.
August.
Yeah. Miss Leo Den, the Lion's Den. We protect our cub. And I'm telling you, if there's anything that you need, Francheska, I am a phone call away. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Well, I really appreciate it. You are a gift to all of us for doing this. It's not easy. And like I said before, I look up your background. You're a beautiful woman, and you've done beautiful things, and you're still doing it. And you look just like your mother.
I have to make
I saw her behind. I saw behind. You have it. What was she pushing a chair? A wheelchair? No, not here.
Oh, yeah.
In the studio.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to cry when I say this, so I have to say it. Thank you for watching Our Lives, Our Future with beautiful, beautiful Francheska Gelbart. I will have a copy of the book, and for those of you who would like to get a copy, do me a favor, contact me, email me, write a message below, and we'll stay in contact. I can give Francheska a list and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching.
You're welcome.